Mewgenics is the newest game from Edmund McMillen. Yes, the same mind behind The Binding of Isaac. Developed alongside Tyler Glaiel. And if you're expecting something cute because it's about cats, let's just stop that right now. This is not a wholesome pet simulator. This is not cozy core. Mewgenics is a tactical roguelike about raising genetically questionable cats, sending them into brutal grid-based battles, and accepting that many of them will die permanently. The cute aesthetic is almost a bait and switch. Underneath the cartoon fur is a game that's harsh, systems heavy, and intentionally tasteless. At its core, Mewgenics runs on a two-phase structure: life at home and life on a run. Back at your base in Boone County, you manage what can only be described as a chaotic cat colony. You build rooms, manage resources, equip gear, and most importantly, breed cats. At night, your cats pair up and produce kittens who inherit traits from their parents. That's where the game's identity starts to shine. There are over 100 strange and often absurd traits in the gene pool. Some are genuinely useful, some are situational, and others exist purely for comedic or chaotic effect. You're not just building a team, you're experimenting with genetics, trying to create the perfect combination of abilities for future runs. Every few in-game days, you assemble a squad of 4 cats and send them out on a mission. Each cat wears a collar that defines its class: fighter, tank, cleric, support, and so on. And those roles do matter. Once you head out, the game shifts into a board game style quest map filled with randomized events. You'll move node to node, encountering battles, skill checks, merchants, and strange encounters, slowly building toward a boss fight at the end of the map. The structure feels almost tabletop inspired, but the moment you enter combat, it becomes something else entirely. Battles take place on a 10x10 grid in strict turn-based fashion. This isn't an action roguelike. It's much closer to tactical strategy games where positioning and turn order are everything. You're thinking about spacing, ability cooldowns, enemy patterns, and terrain hazards. Every move matters. Early on, fights can feel simple, but as your cats develop more abilities and enemies become more complex, the combat gains so much more depth. You begin to realize you always need a healer. You learn not to overextend fragile units. You understand how to manipulate positioning to minimize damage. When it clicks, it's satisfying in a way that feels earned. But Mewgenics doesn't let you get too comfortable. Permadeath is always hanging over your head. If a cat falls in battle and takes too many hits while downed, it's gone forever. No revival next run. No second chances. That performance makes every decision heavier. Losing a strong, carefully bred cat can sting more than you expect. The game thrives on that emotional investment. It wants you to care, and then it wants to test how much that care costs. The resource loop reinforces that tension. When cats return safely from a run, they bring back food and gold. Food is essential to keep your colony alive. Gold is used for upgrades and equipment. Over time, you expand your base, improve breeding facilities, and unlock permanent bonuses. But the major upgrades require sacrifice. To expand your home or unlock powerful improvements, you have to donate cats, often experienced high-level ones. The game will ask for dozens of them. That grind can feel steep, and it absolutely slows progression. You're constantly weighing the value of keeping a powerful veteran versus sacrificing it for long-term growth. And then there's the randomness. Mewgenics is unapologetically driven by RNG. Breeding results are unpredictable. Event outcomes can hinge on a dice roll. Item drops are inconsistent. You might bring the perfect squad for a challenge only for the game to test the wrong stat or spawn an unfortunate sequence of events. Sometimes success feels strategic, other times it feels like fate decided your run before you did. For some players, that unpredictability is part of the appeal, the one more run factor that keeps you hooked. For others, it will be a source of frustration. Tonally, Mewgenics fully embraces McMillen's signature style. The humor is juvenile, gross, and deliberately provocative. The title itself is a joke. So stand in line for poop jokes, awkward mating animations, body horror, and tasteless puns. Cats vomit. Cats misbehave. Cats do things you probably don't want animated. It's edgy in a very specific post-Newgrounds kind of way. If you've enjoyed McMillen's past work, this will feel familiar. If you're sensitive to crude humor, this might be a deal breaker. The game never apologizes for its tone. It leans into it. Visually though, the art style is rough, but intentional. It's cartoonish, exaggerated, and unmistakably McMillen. The presentation isn't about realism or polish. It's about personality. Boss fights even come with original theme songs and lyrics, adding an unexpected charm to the chaos. Beneath the gross-out jokes and exaggerated animations, there's a surprising amount of heart and creativity here. One area where some players may feel disconnected is the lack of a clear, overarching narrative. Unlike The Binding of Isaac, which at least framed its chaos within a symbolic story, Mewgenics doesn't offer a strong central plot. You're upgrading your house, you're breeding cats, you're fighting enemies, but there isn't a grand villain or obvious endgame goal driving the experience forward. The loop is the purpose. For players who thrive on sandbox systems and emergent storytelling, that's enough. For those who want narrative payoff, it may feel directionless to you. Combat pacing can also be a sticking point. Tactical battles take time. Boss encounters, in particular, can stretch on as you carefully position units and cycle abilities. If you lose a beloved cat after a long fight, the emotional weight is heavy, sometimes motivating, sometimes discouraging. The slow pace reinforces the strategy, but it does mean that each run demands focus and patience. And yet, despite its flaws, the grind, the RNG, the abrasive humor, Mewgenics is compelling. Once you understand its systems, it becomes deeply strategic. You start planning breeding lines, you build specialized teams, you experiment with trait combinations, you learn from painful losses. The game rewards long-term thinking and creative experimentation. It feels messy on the surface, but underneath is a carefully constructed web of mechanics that support each other. So where does that leave it? Mewgenics is part pet simulator, part tactical RPG, and part dark comedy experiment. It offers immense replayability through its breeding system and randomized runs. It provides meaningful strategy in combat. It demands patience in progress, and it unapologetically embraces a sense of humor that won't land for everyone. At Controller Culture, we're giving Mewgenics an 8 out of 10. That score reflects its depth, originality, and long-term replay value. The tactical combat is strong. The genetic experimentation system is unlike anything else in the genre. The replay loop can easily support dozens, even hundreds of hours. However, the heavy reliance on RNG, the grindy upgrade path, and the intentionally crude tone prevent it from being universally recommendable. For players who love roguelikes, complex systems, and McMillen's twisted creativity, Mewgenics is a standout. For those who dislike randomness or edgy humor, it may feel exhausting. It's strange, it's uncomfortable, it's strategic, and it's undeniably unique. And sometimes, that's exactly what makes a game worth playing. If you've made it this far, I'd love to know what you think. Are you picking up Mewgenics? Have you already lost a favorite cat to a brutal boss fight? Or is the RNG just too much for you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it. If you enjoyed this review and want more long-form breakdowns like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Controller Culture. It really helps the channel grow, and it lets me keep diving deep into games that deserve more than a quick first impression. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.